Welcome to Network Roundtable. This week, our +1 superhero is the creative Katrina, and joining her as the +1 sidekick is Jamie, who I have just met. This week, we are talking all about recognition.
I remember visiting my grandfather's farm in Alberta, Canada. All around the farm, they had hand pumps installed to provide water to the sheep, clean, and any number of other tasks this city slicker did not understand. I still remember the first time I tried to get water from that hand pump. I took a few pumps on the handle and nothing happened. My grandfather came over and patiently showed me how it would take a bit more work to prime the pump. As a small boy, that was a lot of work. Once the pipe was full and the pump was primed, it became easy to keep the water flowing. I stopped pumping and went to get my dad to show him what I had learned. When we got back to the pump, the pipe was cleared and I had to prime it all over again. Team Troopers hopes that the things you learn today will prime your pump. It's up to you to keep the inspiration flowing.
Welcome. I am super excited. We had the most amazing. If you have not watched the Who Are You show from Monday, you have to. That has me super excited about today's show because this is going to be off the hook. And tell you what, the green room was energy, energy, energy. Super excited. Of course, we're going to jump right into the first thing that we do here on Network Roundtable. I got these new cool little things. See what you think of this. Super Sidekick Admiration! And of course, when we're done with that, Sidekick Super Admiration! So how this works is our +1 superhero will first tell us why they picked the +1 sidekick and why that person is so amazing. They're doing the intro. When Katrina is done with that, Jamie's going to return the favor and tell us all why Katrina is so amazing. Are you guys ready? Take it away, Katrina.
Okay. For today, Jamie and I have been friends for about a year now, and one of the reasons why he's such an amazing person is that when you are in his presence, you're just sort of right in alignment. Like, he just has this essence of really making you feel relaxed and really kind of helping you tune into who you are, because he's also a coach. And when I was thinking about the topics that we were going to sign up for, and this one resonated with me, I felt like he was a great person to kind of pull in and talk to today as my co-host. And I think for all of the folks that don't really know Jamie yet, you're going to get to know him better. And he really is just a big heart and a lovely, lovely man.
Okay. We don't have technical difficulties. We got mental difficulties today.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
If everyone in the audience has already figured out what I've done wrong, then put it in the comments before I say something, because boy, did I mess up.
You put me on the spot, so I just went with it, man.
You are so awesome. Thank you, Katrina, for not making me look like a fool. I'm capable of doing that all by myself. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do this one more time. This week, we're going to be doing Super Sidekick Admiration. And that means that not Katrina, but Nicole will be telling us all about Cheri. And then Cheri will then return the favor and tell us why Nicole is so awesome. And Jamie, you're just not going to get to talk right now. Sorry.
I just love my intro. I just love that.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we really needed it.
Yeah, no accidents. Everything happens.
Then we have a new team member.
Well,
he should be recognized.
There you go. It really was awesome. Thank you, Katrina.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we'll get back to the previously scheduled program. Nicole.
Well, it's so funny because Cheri, I've met her. I've been on the Google Plus just since the summer, and Cheri's one of the first person that I met on Google Plus in the beginning, and I instantly connected with her. She's got a genuineness about her and an openness that allows for great possibilities to open up in others. So I just thought it was a great place to invite her and share, because she's very good at recognition, and I basically hounded her to be here. So it's a pleasure to have invited her in and share this event with her.
Thank you very much. Cheri, that was an awfully good Stephanie Sims impression, I gotta say.
What was that? Oh, that's my
The audience-
namaste.
that,
My
right there.
thank you.
The audience
Thank
didn't
you.
get to see it, but very good Stephanie Sims.
Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. I just feel really blessed since I've actually joined this whole Google Plus forum. I have met the most amazing people, and that opportunity to do that FaceTime has just been beyond words for me. And Nicole, she graced me with her presence. I do a show called Tappy Break every week, and Nicole came and participated, but then joined me in the green room, and pretty much since then we've had a definitely level of relationship. She's just beautiful. Her soul is just so precious, and it's just been such a gift to get to know her more and more and more. And I had no idea what she was hounding me to do. I just said yes because she asked me. And when I found out the topic, I'm like, that would not have been one I would have chosen. So literally, she sees something in me that I haven't seen in myself, but I definitely see it in her. And I want to recognize Nicole for that beautiful gift of inviting me. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is start to tackle this week's word, which hopefully I'll get it right. I believe it's recognition.
Mhm.
So we're going to cover recognition through, as we do each week, past, present, future. And I also created these cool things. So here we go. We're going to start off with the past, what we know about the word recognition. And this is the time when Katrina actually jumps in and starts asking questions of our +1 superhero and +1 sidekick. So Katrina, take it away.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. Well, as you said, the topic is recognition. These ladies have already done a very wonderful job of recognizing each other this morning. And I think when you're really looking at the whole scope of the word, you really kind of start with the internal versus the external. I think historically, a lot of people are looking for recognition externally, and sort of how does that pump you up internally? So as one of the basic human needs, I'm curious why you think people struggle with this so much. Not only personally but professionally. Like, why is recognition hard for us when it's one of those core human needs?
Does anybody speak at this point?
Sure.
Oh yeah, it's open forum.
Okay, great. I'll speak to that. I don't know. For me, what I have found, especially in working with all the clients I've worked with, and myself, is that I think we were raised, a lot of people have been raised not to be recognized. I think families sometimes, if you come in a family or a culture where it's actually frowned upon to call attention to yourself or want that recognition, and so if that's been your experience, it really becomes part of your truth, which isn't really true, but we believe it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even comment about what the recognition that we, for me, from my truth, from my past, the recognition that I was taught was negative recognition. So stepping into that next phase of recognition is a battle within myself, because I have to learn that recognition should be positive, and it is positive when you start cleaning up all of your truths inside of yourself. So the recognition for me has been something that's been a core value of mine, because the recognition was definitely external, And what was reflected back to me was negative recognition, and that's kind of where I learned to grow from.
Well, and I also think when you're diving in deeper to that recognition piece, it's also that separation of you of other people. So if you're not necessarily clear on who you are and what your own value is, it can be really hard in connecting with other people. It can be really hard to find your people, your tribe, let's say. And I think that translates a lot online as well. You know, when you're initially putting yourself online, you know, obviously part of the work that I do for a living is writing, but you know, helping people to really express who they are online so they're attracting the right people is a whole other piece. So, you know, when you have that as a personal value, how do you think that plays into how you come across online and what you're doing online to talk about yourself and connect with people?
Well, personally, Jamie, maybe. It's like, did you want to speak up? Sorry.
No, well, I had a question for you, Nicole, but I'll let you answer Katrina's question, and then I'll shoot another question just to comment on what you said a moment ago.
Okay.
So
Because the recognition that comes from externally, that comes externally is
Did we lose her?
I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, we've lost her, unfortunately. I'm sure she'll come back. So I'm going to take advantage of
Can I jump
this
in
break.
and answer that question then?
There is no one that doesn't want to be here today.
Okay, so Cheryl has a comment. Let's do that, and then I'll answer the question.
Okay, so are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, it's happening.
Okay, so can someone else read it?
Jamie, for some reason you're reverbing. Oh my gosh.
Sounds awesome. Oh, it didn't do it that time. I wanted to hear
Yeah, we gotta mute it. So when you're not talking, Jamie, yeah, there you go. Perfect, dude. Go ahead.
Okay.
Kristen.
All right. So Cheryl asks, what about those that don't want the recognition? Want to be in the background? Is it still a need, must have? Like I'm thinking she's saying, is it still a need to be recognized?
I think some people actually have more of that need. I mean, I think our needs, although we all have them, they're rated differently and prioritized differently for some of us. And it just may not be as important to you to have that recognition as maybe somebody else. But then I would also ask, is there a reason? Is there something actually holding you back or blocking you from not wanting to be recognized? That would be what I would say to that.
Way to answer a question with a really good question, I gotta say.
Hey, that's how it works. That's how I roll. I mean, you know.
Full shizzle and rolling. Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Okay, so you know, there's been a lot of talk in the audience about how everybody felt. Well, they wanted to get all zen was the comment with Jamie. So since we're waiting for Nicole to come back in, this is probably a great time. Again, you know, the universe is making the right thing happen, apparently, or the Google gremlins, as the case may be. So Jamie, go ahead and tell us why you think Katrina is so awesome, and then we'll get to Nicole right after that.
All right, nice. Yeah, my turn to give Katrina a bit of recognition there as well. Yeah, well, Katrina is I've known Katrina for just over a year or so, and she's really fascinating because her sort of passion is creativity, but it has a kind of a spiritual dimension to it, which is how I kind of got to know her, through this overlap between spirituality and creativity. And she's an amazing person because she's an empath and she's an intuitive. And when you're in her presence, she makes you feel so totally comfortable to be yourself without any kind of judgment or any kind of criticism or anything like that. So that's an amazing capacity that she has. Now I know that sometimes that can be negative because you can end up sort of taking on board all kinds of baggage from people. But in the right company, it is an incredibly powerful skill that she has. For me, that's why I just found it so fascinating to be with her, to interact with her, and to get involved in these projects. So yeah, that's why I enjoy being with her.
Thank you so much. That was so lovely. What a great way to start Friday. It's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Nicole, you are back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's so funny. I guess I wasn't.
Decided that we needed to hear from Jamie first.
Yeah, and I guess I wasn't going along the proper line of recognition. So it's so funny because Katrina was talking about the online recognition, and it's true. The online world is allowing for that recognition to find our people, to find our tribe, and to find those people that finally help us to grow in our own self-recognition, but by the addition of the pieces, by recognizing in us what we've already recognized, but and allowing that tribe to even build it up even more. Which, if I went back to my first comment when I was talking about the past, where I come from, that was the healing part of it. That was the part where I had to heal so that I could hop into a tribe and feel that I could contribute in a way that was that allowed me to recognize myself and that allowed me to recognize others. So I think that's what the online world is opening up to, this vast universe of recognition and growing all these great additions of one piece to another. So I don't know if that answered your question, Katrina.
So, Katrina, do you mind if I come in with a question for Nicole at this point?
No, go for it.
So, Nicole, I was about to ask you another question, just related to how we were talking about how historically in a person's life, perhaps we move through that phase of being brought up thinking that external recognition could be something negative. And then sort of shifting to realize that when we value ourselves internally, we give ourselves that internal recognition, and that can be an extremely powerful, positive thing. And you commented on that sort of in your own life. So I was curious to know, for you, how did that shift happen from kind of moving away from feeling that the external recognition is a negative thing and then realizing that that internal recognition is a positive thing? How did that shift happen for you? What happened in your life, or what happened internally to kind of help you to realize that?
I think life happened to me. I think it was as I got on with my life and lived through experiences and lived through growth within myself. Like I said in the Who Are You, I question a lot, so I never accepted things at face value. So I was always looking at, and I looked for recognition outside of myself for so long until it finally, I don't know that there was like a ha-ha moment that kind of went, okay, I got to start looking internally. I think it was just, if I was going to say there was one event, and I can't really say that it's all of it, but there was a huge part of it that came from my daughters. I have twins, and when they looked at me when they were 2 years old, I had no clue who I was. And I knew who I was as a mother, I knew who I was as a spouse, I knew who I was as all these roles outside of who I am, and I had no clue who the soul of me was. So I started on this quest of looking for myself, and I didn't have to look. I just had to peel away parts of me and find who was underneath all of those roles that I was playing in my life. So that's kind of where it was. But now my daughters are 15 years old, and they're teaching me other things of myself.
Yeah. How about you, Cheri? Was there a moment for you where that shifted as well?
I think it was a confluence of events. I spent a lot of time, I think, really trying to be recognized by what I thought other people wanted to recognize in me.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't working so well. And I think after years of really being sick and just struggling, not listening to my truth, my intuition, not being the person I really wanted to be and saw myself being, I started to really question and do the healing work and look within to see what was stopping me. And I recognized in others all these qualities. And I started to understand that we often will see in others what we cannot see in ourselves. And I started to notice that I was seeing more and more beauty and strength and openness and love, and realizing that I could only see that because it was in me too. And that helped me to start to recognize that within myself a little bit at a time. And I think at some point I just decided, like, this is who I am, and I'm not apologizing anymore. I recognize that this is me, and it's okay, and those that don't resonate, that's okay too. And as I started to do more and more of that, I found more and more people who resonated more with that part of myself that I wanted to recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful description and explanation, because I think that phrase, just be yourself, while it's simple, is very complex and not always easy. It's not always easy to just be yourself and do what you do, because we have all these other pieces and roles and masks and all these other things that we're working through. So, and I know that specifically when you're talking about the online world, there is that balance of how much do you keep private. What is it that you want to be recognized for, all of those pieces. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about that as well. Like in terms of, if you're promoting yourself as an entrepreneur or as a healer, you have these other pieces that you're doing. So when you're online, how do you balance that? How much do you want to talk about yourself versus what you do? And how does that recognition piece fit into how you're connecting with people?
Well, personally, I think that the recognition with Google Plus, what's so great about it is people see you. So there's a factor in when if you're typing away, there's no the recognition is in your words, but when you're representing yourself in front of the camera or whatever, people get a whole sense of who you are. And so I think you can't hide as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you better show up as I'm gonna venture in to say that if you don't recognize who you are, how will people recognize it? So because I'm not, believe me, I'm always in self-recognition, and I'm always stepping into that new part of who I am, but there's always more and more about revealing who you are and being truthful and genuine and authentic in what you're sharing, and people see that. So and then they reflect it back to you. So I think that's what the whole online world is all about, is about recognizing who you are and showing up as yourself so that people can interact with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me,
I gotta say, it's really ironic, because this same conversation is happening right now in the stream. Let me show the comment by Dave Moore that started it, but let's see. Oh, I'm having a hard time finding it. Anyway, it's in there somewhere. Yeah. But the thing is that the audience actually started. There we go. Thank you, Kristen. The audience actually started this conversation before we did, which doesn't happen very often. And so it's really interesting to me watching this time frame happening, that apparently this Dave Moore talks about it as a false persona thing, changes online, and it can either help us to receive the recognition.
Sean, the last part of his word. Recognition.
It's his turn.
Is that your job?
Or it can.
Finish his words.
Oh, did I hear a voice?
I think so. I think Cheri was gonna talk a little bit.
Okay.
If you wanted to go ahead, Cheri,
Sure.
and say
Well,
what you're
until we
thinking.
get him. I just
Yeah.
the whole online presence, and it, for me, I know it's definitely been like a journey and a path and a learning experience. And I think as I've grown and as I've gotten more clear on who I am and recognize that myself, I share more of myself authentically.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know way in the beginning, like years ago, I kind of, kept thinking everything I had to do was supposed to be like perfect and like be an expert. And that really held me back a lot because it didn't let me really speak from my heart. And so the more I started to speak from my heart, I think I reveal more and more of who I am. And that really has guided me and led me and attracted to me just the most amazing people and finding my people, so to speak. And, we have different reasons for being online. There's the collaborative opportunities and there's the connection that we can have. And then, finding like colleagues and like-minded community. And of course, we're, finding our clients, our potential clients, those people who we can serve and who feel that we're the ones to help serve their particular needs at the time. And I think revealing all different aspects of ourselves is a wonderful way to gather those different tribes and to express who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And the more that you can get used to the fact that you're evolving and what you say this month may be something totally different next month, I think that's one of the powers of being online. You can change part of that as you grow, and you're not locked into something that doesn't ever evolve. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
We have a question.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll show it. Aaron Segal says, on the topic of internet allowing for recognition needs to be met, how does recognition for false personas affect a person's true need for the recognition they want or need? Those who are more outrageous or shocking than they would normally be behind the veil of anonymity that the internet provides. Who wants to take that one?
Okay, so I gave credit to the wrong person. It was Aaron that started the conversation that was going on.
Can you post that question one more time? Let me think here.
Yeah, it should be up.
See
I
it.
have it.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Okay, yep, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I think what he's getting at here is that are people trying to be more something than they really are just to get that attention, and how is that feeding a false need? Like, how is that really kind of tying into the needs that they have, but maybe they're not approaching them in an authentic way? So
it's a really complex one. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
I don't think there's like one specific answer for that. It's very. I think it's a question of recognizing who you are, and feeling into who you are, and feeling how your connection with the recognition. Like, are you receiving the recognition to talk like on the online world? It's like feel into it. If what you're receiving feels ungenuine or like a persona that you're receiving, well, allow yourself to recognize that it can be a surface recognition, and just accept it as what it is, and feel into that. And if you feel that it feels deeper than that, well, then step into that and allow that and it'll. Because don't get me wrong, there's some recognition that comes in that is, you can feel that it's like a surface recognition, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's like you accept it, and it soothes because we all have different layers to who we are, and there's nothing wrong with my dog loves it when I pet him, and it's a surface pet, and there's other times when I can take the time and I can really give him in love, but if I just do a surface, just he'll come up to me and I'll just give him a little pat on the back. He loves it too. It's not the same recognition. it's not in depth as much as when I take the time to take him in my arms and I rub his belly and I play with him. The recognition is different, but it's all a question of feeling into how you feel about what you're receiving and about how you're getting it. So.
And that's also how you're putting yourself out there too.
Right.
You know, what are those deep needs in you? Do you want that more superficial connection, or do you want that deeper connection? So I think that plays into that part too.
Yeah.
I think the internet is it's just been a forum and an opportunity for people, though, to get recognitions in the way they need it. So some people who are out there and they're being outrageous, either that's a way that they've already been receiving it and that's how they recognize it, and that's where they are right now in their life, in their journey. And the internet gives them that, and the people who are recognizing them are in that same vein and energy, so somebody who doesn't speak to is not going to recognize or give, give the plus ones or, like the face or say comments. And I mean, I see that for a lot of people. I see, it's also a forum for people who need, who maybe are needy in some ways, and they don't have people in maybe their everyday life to recognize how much they're struggling, or the poor me, or where they are and the victim in their life, and so they get that recognition that they need on the internet. So it feeds a need where people are, and we all need to be recognized in different ways.
Right.
And I wonder also, I mean, following up on this theme and from the comment, from that last comment, I wonder how much it's true for us that, as you said, Cheri, we want that recognition, and especially online through our social media and our business marketing and so on, we do want and we need that recognition. But often people create a false persona, perhaps because they're afraid to be their authentic self in the world of internet. Could that lead to mistaken kinds of recognition that we get back, as Nicole said, that as we present ourselves on the internet, we get recognition kind of proportional to how we recognize ourselves and how we present ourselves. So if we have a kind of a fear, or perhaps if we feel vulnerable about presenting our authentic self, perhaps that could lead to getting the kind of responses that are not really in line with who we are as a true person. So perhaps if we can overcome those that feeling of vulnerability, then we can give ourselves the recognition, and then we get, in response, we can get the recognition that we truly deserve. Well, what are your guys' thoughts about that?
Yeah, that leads perfectly into the next question I was going to ask, is like, what are some simple things that people can do to recognize their own value? So that was perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like, to speak to that, Jamie, and it's probably going to answer Katrina's question at the same time. Since we're human beings and we're always in a growth of ourselves, it's allow yourself to accept that that's the persona that you're comfortable with. And it's we often hear about egos or whatever, and it's like, if that's where you are, that's where you are, and allow yourself to be there. But also allow yourself to know that you're gonna grow. Don't accept the today's status, like Katrina was speaking to earlier there. The status that is today is not going to be the same as tomorrow, and we're always in evolution, and we're always in a growth of ourselves. So I think the recognition that if you do need to be recognized from a place that doesn't feel good to you, well then learn to shift and change, and just it's fine. This is what I need today. I don't feel comfortable about it. Allow yourself to recognize that it's okay, and just keep stepping into it until you feel comfortable. I've bought pairs of shoes where, oh my God, they were so uncomfortable, but I stepped into them and wore them, and some of them I threw out and some of them I kept because I felt into them until I could feel comfortable in what looked like me and felt like me. So the recognition for me is the same, because like I said, I searched high and low for recognition in my life, in all facets of my life, until it felt comfortable to me. And now it's what I get from externally is just a bonus, and it just helps me to grow. So does that answer both your questions?
Yeah, beautifully. Beautiful comment. I mean, I think that's really important about just going with what feels comfortable for you in the moment, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, you maybe to push yourself a little bit out of your
Yes.
comfort zone, but obviously not to the point that you think you're going to die. But
No.
as you said, it's to kind of to feel a little bit of discomfort, but enough that
Yes.
you can tolerate, isn't it? So to allow you to grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful words.
And then you take the judgment out of it. If you can take that judgment piece out at the same time, holy cow, that's the icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Cheri?
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what Nicole said. I think awareness is really important. Be aware enough to know, maybe acknowledge for yourself that I'm really not comfortable putting myself out there completely just yet, and accept that. Like, let that be okay, and take, as you said, Katrina, take out the judgment, because I think those judgments and those resistance and not acknowledging what's true for us really keeps us from stepping into the next place. So acknowledge that, yeah, I'm not comfortable, I'm doing the best I can, and I choose to grow. I choose to maybe step out of my comfort zone. You know, there are so many wonderful things that we can do that help us. You know, tapping, which is emotional freedom techniques, is one thing. Any type of energy healing work, any type of cognitive, you know, choosing our thoughts, you know, so take the time maybe to ask the questions, you know, am I comfortable? Why am I not comfortable? What can I do to become more comfortable? And I think just being in the question and the honesty of it helps us to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, and you know, to kind of just tail on the end of this, I'm going to read this question as I wrote it because I think it's powerful this way. So how do your expectations impact your ability to accept and honor recognition from others or offer recognition to others?
Wow.
Can you repeat that one?
Mm-hmm. How do our expectations impact our ability to accept and honor recognition from others or offer recognition to others? Because we all have an expectation of how an exchange is going to go, how we're going to be received, how people are going to perceive us, and sometimes that limits us from sharing recognition with others, like saying, hey, you did a great job, because somehow that takes away from something in you. So it's interesting balance there. I'm just kind of curious how you feel like expectations fill in there sometimes.
Cheri, I'll let you speak.
Okay. Okay. Well, first, I think expectations have a huge potential for disappointment. So that can totally flavor how we react to either the recognition we received, or maybe even what we want to offer. I think the more that we can just be present and just maybe post things or share things for the sheer fact of being honest and wanting to share and serve, we'll limit that expectation. But I think where we are in our life, what we have, if we have insecurities, if we're not really feeling confident, you know, depending on, I think, where we are personally, each and every one of us is going to, those expectations are certainly going to impact how we feel about the recognition we're either offering or receiving. Mm-hmm. Did that answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know, that was a big one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but it's so funny because the expectations for me, I lived in expectations for the longest time, and that's what I work with a lot with my clients is the expectations. When you start expecting from others, you're outside of yourself. So you're trying to control something that you have absolutely no control over, and your energy is completely external to you. So you're hurting yourself and you're hurting the other by not being within your body. So when you're in that zone of expectations, just allow yourself to bring back your awareness into, start by, if you have to, bring it into your head, but I always speak of bringing it back into your core, feel into it. And because when you're in the world of expectations, you know you're outside of your body. And it's, believe me, I've been the number one. I've been in a relationship, a very destructive relationship with expectations, and it's not a good place to be. And the recognition that you'll get from that will just chew away at your soul, basically. So
Yeah,
expectations actually give your power away. When we have expectations, I mean, totally agree with you, Nicole. We're outside of ourselves, and we're totally giving away our power of who we are. But I'm not sure that sometimes we're always aware that we have expectations. So
no, but that's the power. That's the bonus of being human, is when you're not unaware of it, you can't do anything about it. So keep going. But when you become aware of it, well, then that's when you can change it. There's a saying, I can't quote it exactly, but they're like, just allow yourself to, once you see it, then do better, you know. But if you don't see it, don't hit yourself over the head for something that you see that you've done in the past. And it's true. We tend to do that. We tend to look at how I was. And since I work with nature, I always say that poor apple tree doesn't hit itself over the head because it couldn't give apples when it was just a little sapling. You know, it just keeps growing into itself, and then when it comes to the point where it can give apples, it's just happy to be giving apples. You know, so it's just, you know, it's just that capacity. We're so, I think sometimes as humans, well, not I think, for me, I can honestly say, and most of my clients that I work with, we're our own worst enemy. We're just very good at destroying ourselves and just hitting ourselves over things that it's like we love picking on something like a pain or something. It's like, oh my God, I'm so terrible at this. And it's like, well, so who cares? Who cares? Become better at what you're good at. Recognize who you are, and just, I always tell people when I work with them, look at yourself in the mirror and put one thing. And I'm not talking about physically, just when you're looking at yourself in your eyes. There's a truth about looking at yourself. Look at one thing and own that. Repeat it to yourself until you feel good about it. And recognize that one part of yourself that is beautiful, that is powerful, that is present, that is, you know, it's that recognition. We're so good at picking the what's not right, and who says what's not right. You know, look at what's right about you, and love that. Please love that piece of you to death, basically, as to use the expression. But recognize it and own it, and just. And I always say it's in French, it's indélébile. Once it's written down, you can't take it off the list. It's yours. Own it.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know, I kind of want to just circle the conversation back here really quickly to the business part of it too, because I think, you know, once you're building your community, you have these people that you're connecting with, and then you're evolving and changing. You've built this community based on those one-on-one connections that are very powerful. So how do you kind of maintain that same level of recognition, like sharing with your followers or remembering to say thank you, all of that stuff when you are getting bigger and you do have a lot going on? Like how do you maintain that balance of making sure that you're still recognizing the people that got you there?
I think it's one thing at a time. I think it's like to speak. I was listening this morning. There was somebody posted a video or something, and I don't remember who it was, but I'm all about an inch wide and a mile deep, like I said in the Who Are You? And I think it's about recognizing one person at a time. You know, it's constant. It's constant. So yeah, I might have forgotten. I've had people ping me that I didn't see it. I honestly didn't see it, and they pinged me back again a couple of days later, and it's like, oh, thank you so much for pinging me back. I appreciate that. And then I owned up to it. I recognized that it's like, no, I didn't see it. And thank you for reaching back out to me. And I think as humans we are so hard on ourselves. We get into this perfect mode, and it's like we don't allow ourselves to cultivate this because we're going to be united one piece at a time, you know. I met each and every one of you except for Jamie, but met each and every one of you pretty much on an individual basis, and I think it's a building process. And I think that's how I find that recognition happens, is by having this one-on-one conversation with people as you go, and knowing that, well, today I know 100 people, and tomorrow I might know 1,000. Who knows, you know?
Well, I like your process, because you make it a point to connect with people online and then set aside some time to really get to know them. And that's how we actually got to chat, get to know each other. And I really appreciated that, because, you know, although we were kind of in the same circles and chatting a little bit through just comments, it was really nice to take that time to do that, and it was wonderful for someone to actively do that. So I think that's a good model to follow if you're looking to connect more one-on-one in that way.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it's like, for now, that's what looks like me, and it's like I don't know what's coming. I'm allowing the recognition to show me as I find who I am and develop into it.
Yeah. What about you, Cheri?
Well, yeah, I would love to comment, but I know that there's a lot of comments out in the stream. Do we want to share some of them first?
I know. I was talking to Dennis about that.
This show has been amazing, both on screen and off screen, and we are not trying to not recognize the audience in this. It's just very difficult when this conversation here has been so powerful. So we will be jumping in the stream, and Kristen, you've been wrangling comments. I have a little bit too. Do you want to touch on a couple of those for a second, Kristen?
I do. I'm looking for, there's a really good question. Oh, gosh. Okay, so Aaron Sval is turning into our Christopher Vogelman of the internet right now, because he is just, like, all over the place, and I'm just wanting to pull up everything that he says. Oh, gosh. There was a question that I'm looking for. It was in regards to being politically correct. Did anyone see that?
I did see that one.
You guys are amazing. Like, our audience is just absolutely off the hook.
All right, well, so
you're so involved, and we love you. Thank you.
Michael Thomas says, I mean, I don't know how to pull up the comments, but awareness is the magic word again. Being aware of yourself as well as being aware of the platform you were involved with. So thanks. We love that. While you're looking to bring some up.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at all this, it is kind of ironic that with a rich conversation, it's hard to recognize all the great comments that everyone's giving too, because they all are sort of intertwining but bringing up really great points.
They really are, yeah.
Yeah, I think more than anything else, what's really great about the awareness of with everyone else is that it is very clear where you can give recognition to yourself and then to others, and that's really nice. Everybody, we don't always take that time and have that space to be able to do that. So when you're looking at it from a business perspective, it's not necessarily just to grow your business, but it's to enrich you. And so I'm kind of curious how you guys feel about that, because we're doing past, present, future. We've only got a couple minutes left. I kind of want to touch a little bit on how is that future core value of recognition going to play out in terms of business as we move forward in a new way. I mean, online changes so quickly, and that dynamics of everything. So where's recognition going into the future? Where do you see that path?
Well, I alluded to it a little bit earlier there. For me, I think the recognition is going to come from, well, self-recognition, but that's going to contribute to a team recognition, and recognizing that there's going to be a collaborative. As to before, I remember when I worked in hotels or in my background, there was always individual recognition, if we're talking about in a company. And now I think there's going to be more of this team recognition and allowing for each person to bring their strengths into this team, and recognizing that the whole team is moving forward or growing into the and recognizing that it's a whole that is part of what's moving forward. So that's my.
Yeah, did we want to jump to the comment there real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I think it could actually fit in really well with the future side of it. How can we possibly appease everyone while maintaining a politically correct balance is what Aaron is asking.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't think we can please everyone, and as soon as you try to do that, you've lost. You really need to, I think, intrinsically come in with pleasing yourself, with who you are, what's true for you, what's right for you, and reach out to people really authentically and real in a way that you can. That's the thing. I mean, going forward in business and using social media, it's a wonderful forum that we do get to recognize so many more people, see so many more things. We get to grow, we get to connect, but it is taking that time also for the one-on-one. It is taking that time to thank people and to share with them. And you know, we can go like and plus all day long, but you know, take a moment maybe to say a kind word, or to, you know, really share with someone why this moved you or why you resonated with it. When someone does something kind for you, you know, thank them. Like, there's nothing wrong, I think, with going out and saying, hey, Kristen, you know, I really loved our private chat. You were amazing. I learned so much about you, and your, you know, your kindness and your sweetness and what you've been through is just amazing. And I think myself, I've been a little reluctant to do that because I always worry about what the other person's going to think. Instead, you know, and I'm always trying to respect privacy. And yet, I think that, you know, rather than coming from, that's a place of like, what, scarcity, fear, and judgment, expectation, instead of just being true and authentic with, you know, I really did appreciate that moment, and I want to, like, you know, recognize you for that. And taking time, you know, more even using the social media to maybe recognize each other, you know, one-on-one versus always maybe in the group platform too.
I like to think of social media as just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle to meet people that you would probably never meet in your whole life, but that resonate with you more than maybe people next door, you know, like that are, or at your church or whatever, you know. Like, oh my gosh, I have friends in India who, like Vivek Tiwari, like I love him to death, and I would have never met him unless it were for social media. I think some people have the tendency to hide behind a like or a plus, and I think what you're saying about taking that extra step is so important. Like, I think of likes and pluses as metrics. It's a way to measure something, but you know what? Some of us don't give a damn about metrics. Some of us just want the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think even, you know, I will get emails from, you know, people who have signed up for my Set Your Day for Success meditations and just really comment on it, and like that totally makes my day. But like, I like to take it a step further and reply back to them, just because, you know, they've taken the time, or after, you know, or even go look up who they are and maybe reach out to them in a more personal way than, you know, see who they are on social media. Maybe reach out to them and give them a private message. I mean, there's so many ways that we can make those connections for business and for recognition in a way that's, you know, serving the world, you know, serving our purpose, making a difference, and, you know, making somebody else's day.
Magnifying our callings as human beings.
And how important is that in business, you know, going forward? Because, you know, obviously in business there are all sorts of values that a business should put emphasis on. Where does recognition come in that, in terms of creating success for the future?
Well, I think maybe if you're trying to develop more a client base, that's going to be really important, because people love to be recognized, and to take the time out of your day to recognize them in a very personal way, I think can go a long way.
And I think go.
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
It's so funny because I think like the like we were talking to earlier is like the more you recognize yourself, the more you'll be able to recognize your clients, and they'll feel it, and it will be a genuine exchange between you and your client. And that's, I think, because business, I think business was so much about convincing others. Like and now we're slowly, or depending on which area you're in, we're going into back into the human aspect of business. And I think that the more you recognize who you are and allow yourself to grow into it, the more you're going to be able to recognize your client and your customers or whatever, and they're going to feel. Your client needs to be, like, for me, my clients, I don't know how many of my clients have told me, oh my God, I feel like you're my best friend. And it's like, and that's the best compliment. It's like, because then there's a rapport there and like, I mean, I don't have supper with them. They're not part of my daily life, but there's a rapport there. There's an honesty and there's a genuineness that gets felt from both parties. So by recognizing myself, I'm able to reflect back to my client and to my customer that I'm recognizing them. I see you for who you are, and I'm there. In my case, I'm there to help you recognize yourself and solidify yourself in that. So.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. And you ladies have been so great today. Everyone's been sharing such great stuff online. Definitely we'll be getting to the comments later after the show to make sure that we address everybody. But I know that we're kind of ending up close to our closing time here, so I didn't know if all of you have any closing thoughts that you wanted to share.
Yeah, so I actually like to do closing thoughts in a particular order. The order is rather strange, but it's the way I see you in the stream, which is not what the rest of the world sees. So the order is as follows, and after we go through closing thoughts, we'll go through the same order again with shameless self-promotion. I'll explain what that is after closing thoughts. We're going to go Cheri, Jamie, Katrina, Kristen, Nicole, and back to me. So, Cheri, take it away.
Okay, closing thoughts. So I think, all right, well, online business, there is no truly only online business. You know, I think sometimes we can get caught up into thinking, you know, online just means online, but it's not. It's taking that personal approach to it and using the online approach to help develop those relationships with those people who are our people, and recognizing that it's a wonderful opportunity in a form that we, you know, that you can't possibly do on a day-to-day basis just outside in the world. So use the opportunity to build your online business, but make sure you keep it real and relational as well.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll go. I just would like to say that this conversation has been absolutely fantastic. It's the first time I've met most of you. In fact, only Katrina I knew before. So for me, it's been fantastic to get to know you through the medium of this conversation about recognition, which has been incredibly deep and profound. And this whole topic of recognition, for me, is one of my favorite topics in terms of psychology and the human needs and so on. So I've really enjoyed how we've kind of explored the possibilities of this important need and value, recognition, how it relates to business, how it relates to us personally as individuals. And I really love some of the answers, Nicole and Cheri, that you've given. A lot of practical advice as well about how to move away from the negative aspects of recognition and how to really augment those positive aspects of recognition, which can also benefit you in the business world. So I just would like to say thank you very much for the privilege of being involved in that conversation.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. For me, I was the one that picked to host this show today. So for me, this topic is very close to my heart. For a very long time, I was always giving other people recognition, and I've struggled with doing that for myself. So I figured what better way than to talk about it in HOA. And it's great because everyone showed up to really tell us where they are on their path. The work that I do is because of the person that I am, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I didn't have these challenges or weren't able to work through some of them. So whenever you're in a space of looking at recognition, like all of the people on the panel have said, there's always a little piece somewhere that's going to open you up in a new way. And I challenge people to look at different ways to not only recognize a different part of themselves that they may be uncomfortable doing, but recognizing that in someone else and really finding a way to do that. This discussion today has been fantastic. I know Nicole and I know Kristen and I know Dennis a little bit and obviously Jamie, but Cheri, it's been fantastic getting to chat with you, and I think we're all walking away with something more than what we came with, and hopefully a better understanding from even more of the comments in the stream about how to really show up online in a way that fills not only our hearts but the hearts of others.
Nice, thank you.
That was so beautiful. Yeah. Oh gosh, through that, I had a couple thoughts just randomly come to me. I was like, you know how you always kind of formulate what you think you're going to say, and then you listen because you're present in the moment, and then something that someone else says, it creates a spark. So I just wanted to recognize how beautiful it is when people can do what they are passionate about, and I see that in you, in each one of you. Every single one of you, you are doing what you're passionate about, and it really truly shows, and I thank you for that. The other closing thought that I had was something that was kind of in the comment stream a little bit with Chandra and I. When people do recognize you and they see something that you maybe are not comfortable with, if you can get to the point where you can just graciously say thank you, that's sometimes all it takes. That's all it needs.
Yeah.
Let someone know, hey, I value your opinion. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, you've allowed me to step into that's such a great Kristen. That's such a, because that's something that I tell people. Try to say just thank you. A simple thank you, and sometimes, especially I've with my clients or whatever, I get a lot of people, they'll say, you know, just like, oh, you're very beautiful today, or you're wearing beautiful gloves, or like just something very, oh, but I bought them and they were like $9.99. Who cares? Just say thank you. just thank you. And just that simple act of accepting the recognition because it's a choice that you made. It's a choice that you allowed yourself to respect yourself in recognizing your own needs, and that person is telling you, wow, you know. So that recognition, and to lead into where my comment, Kristen, you just kind of said about the spark and whatever, where my comment was going is recognize that today the recognition that feeds you is going to be different than the recognition that you're stepping into of yourself and that you're allowing to enter in your life. So that's kind of my closing thoughts on recognition.
So my closing thoughts, first of all, I have absolutely loved every analogy that has come from Nicole this whole show. They are fantastically powerful and humorous and memorable. Thank you for bringing those. Those were awesome. The other thing, this show has really shown the essence of everything I've been working on for nearly 18 months in developing Network Roundtable. And so, again, with the theme of recognition, Katrina, you were the one that picked the word. You said it resonated. You found the seeds of this team. Thank you so much, because you have just created exactly what I've been working on for a long time, and it means a lot to me. This is Network Roundtable. Right here, everyone, this is what we've all been about. This is what we're trying to achieve. And Katrina, thank you so much for bringing the A game today.
Now we need the clapping.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, this has been great, and you know, I love being able to pull people together. That's part of my gift. I like to sort of see those strings and pull them together. And you guys are all amazing people. It's great to have you all together here today with me. I love it.
Thank you. All right. So for those of you who are on the panel and don't know how shameless self-promotion works, Well, I think it's self-explanatory. Go ahead. You can promote anything that you want to promote that you have coming up. If you've got an offer that you want people to go buy your book or whatever you've got going on, this is the place to promote it. It's your time. And so it is officially time for shameless self-promotion.
Okay.
Cheri, you're first.
Okay, thanks. Well, before I am shamelessly self-promoting anything, I just want to say thank you to all of you here on the panel. It was a pleasure because I really didn't know I mean, Katrina, I'm meeting you for the first time, and the same with you, Jamie. And my gosh, what a wonderful way to meet you! And I've just recently gotten to connect even further with Kristen and Nicole. Again, this has just been amazing. And Dennis, thank you. And it's opened up so much in me. Like just even though I'm part of the panel, I've learned so much. So thank you for that. And so I want to invite all of you to please join me every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Tappy Break. It's a 15 to 20 minute hangout on air that I do where literally I'm tapping on topics that help us all move into more of a space of freedom and joy and expansion and possibility. So I don't have the film strip open and live while I'm recording, but I do invite people in before and after, and I would love to have more of you join me. So thank you.
Thank you for the invite. And I will be there. So everybody who's watching, this sounds like a show worth following. Oh, Jamie, it's your turn for shameless self-promotion.
Thank you. I do love that introduction. That's a great shameless self-promotion. Well, my shameless self-promotion is that basically, just very quickly, I am a spiritual life coach. One of my specialities is that I specialize in helping individuals discover their own unique spiritual path and coaching people to help them so they can use their spirituality to overcome everyday challenges in life. One of my specialities is in relationships and problems at work and just general problems at home. When you use your spirituality, you resolve problems from the roots upwards. That's my approach, rather than trying to address the symptoms. So if anyone's interested in that kind of thing, I invite you to head over to my website, which is lifecoachinginterventions.com. I have a fantastic free offer, which is like 3 videos. It's a video series of 3 videos where I share simple, practical strategies, how you can connect with your spirituality and use it to improve your relationship, improve your quality of life at work, and your quality of life at home. So there's 3 separate videos which treats those 3 different topics. And that's my shameless self-promotion.
All right. Check it out. Okay. Katrina, it's time for your shameless self-promotion.
Okay. For those of you that don't already know, I blog regularly on Mondays and Thursdays on topics relating to creativity and mindfulness. And I do tap into ways to really get through those blocks so you can recognize all the creative and wonderful gifts that you have to offer. As far as what's coming up for me later today, I'm actually going to be on Arizona Lowe's show, Thinking Out Loud. That's at 5 Mountain Time, because I'm in the Mountain Time Zone. And we're going to be talking about challenges. So that's going to be a fun show, too. I haven't had much of a chance to talk about it yet because I wanted to promote this one. But it's always good when, fun things happen in groups. So that's where I'll be today at 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Kristen always struggles with this, and yet each week she does it again. So, Kristen, you're up. It's your turn for another week of shameless self-promotion.
Okay, so I'm going to promote lend one hand, of course, always. One hand up, one hand down. While you're lifting your hand up to someone to give you some valuable information or whatever, bring everyone else with you as you learn it. Bring everyone else with you. And my other selfless promotion, or yeah, whatever. I always struggle with it. Yeah, the other thing I'm supposed to say that I'm choosing to say is in a month from now, there is going to be a Speed to Profit networking meeting, 3-day event at Kellen Flukiger's. And I went to that last year, and it was absolutely amazing. I learned so much. I went from like not knowing anything about marketing, like I knew zero, nothing. And then by the end of it, I went out of there feeling like I can tackle the world. So I just want to, recommend that everyone like just take a look. It was fabulous for me, and I think it'd be fabulous for you.
Perfect. And one more shameless self-promotion. Nicole, what do you got to tell us about?
Well, it's I'm going to be speaking about my new meditation audio that I've just put on my website just this week, and it's the elemental energy meditation, which brings you into meditation with the elements, since I'm so close to nature. So that's on my website, which is NicoleLevac.com. Under my product page, you can go and purchase that for $9.99, and you have access to it so you can connect with the elements and get on with your day. And I'm going to even go and venture into going on to my blog page, my article page, where I have my Nature's Wisdom series, which I blog every week. Every Wednesday, my Nature's Wisdom comes out. And next week, to go with Katrina was saying, I'm going to be on another Hangout on Air where we're going to be talking. I'm going to be talking with Pamela Zeman on how your food choices affect you and your world. And we're going to be talking about love your elemental love and your natural self. So I'm going to be on there next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. You guys' time. Out west there.
Out west. All right. Thank you, everybody. I am going to take advantage of shameless self-promotion. So, shameless self-promotion. I just love saying that. All right. So, my shameless self-promotion this week, I'm super excited about this. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book on Hangouts on Air and Google+, co-authored with somebody who already has a bestseller on how to use YouTube. And we decided to do something a little different. So we want you guys to all help us write the book. We are actually live. This is Jen Foster, who I'm writing the book with. We are writing the book live via a series of Hangouts on Air. We're literally going to transcribe those. So if you guys come and join the HOA, you can actually, your comments will be in the book. If you share something and we bring it up on screen and we talk about it, that's how we're creating the book. More importantly, when we're done with the first section, which will be 3 or 4 chapters of the book, we are going to, before we go to Green Room, we're going to invite anybody who wants to come in and give a testimonial of the book, because you will have literally just heard what the book's about, and we will be printing those on the back cover. So if you've ever wanted to actually have your face and your name in the testimonial of a book, that's how we're getting our testimonials, is from the audience. So join us. That we know of, it's the first time a book has been crowdsourced through a Hangout on Air. It's definitely the first time it's happened for a book on Hangouts on Air. So join us. That's next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Mountain Time on my personal channel, Dennis Deuce, here on Google+. See you guys then. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Network Roundtable. Next week, well, you know, it's the day before Valentine's Day. And, of course, we have had this week, as a nice tip-off to next week, Cheri Valentine has joined us just to set up next week's show, which is all about, are you ready for it? Love and affection. We'll see you guys all next week. Thank you.